Please enjoy this feature presentation of the Crooked River Radio Network. This program may contain adult content and is intended for mature audiences only.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The arguments begin now.
Hey, hello, y'all. Hello, Dale. What's happening? Hello, Dale. Hurt the Dale. Well, I guess we got to do a take two here.
Please enjoy this feature presentation of the Crooked River Radio Network. This program may contain adult content and is intended for mature audiences only.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The arguments begin now.
Good evening. Are you there?
Yes, I am.
Somewhere out there?
Good evening, Mr. Morrow.
Are you ready for us to throw the house at you?
Throw the house.
This is liable to pay.
I'd appreciate it if you'd throw us up some video.
This is liable to take a couple of hours. I hope you know that.
Uh-oh.
'Cause we got a lot to cover. This should be fun.
Hey, you know what? It's the day before Election Day.
And that's why I figured we'd do something.
We all got a little bit of pent-up, frustrations or whatever. Let's get it out. Let's have some fun.
That's why I decided maybe would want to run a little bit longer than normal. It's 8:15 now. And
You're already looking at the damn clock.
Beautiful downtown Akron, Ohio.
Are we done yet? Can I shut this guy up?
No, we're not going.
Are we done yet?
You're gonna be saying that to me. Is it time to go yet?
Oh. Oh, okay. Well, let's roll.
Yeah. Let's roll. What do you want to talk about first?
Well, I'll tell you what. I have one topic that I would like to speak on.
Okay.
And then we have the topics that you actually put up on the board that was scrolling that said, different things that we were going to talk about today. So after I get done with my topic, you could come at me with all those topics and we'll just have some fun.
I'm grinning like a Chester
cool
cat
with that?
here. See that? I'm grinning like a Chester cat here.
All right.
I'm ready.
So
come on, bring it on, big boy.
I didn't send you any video, but anybody that's got any brains in their mind has seen it. But when Kamala called out the Christians at the the rally and said, "Oh, you guys don't belong here," like Christians didn't belong at a Democratic convention, and you need to go down the road to the smaller rally. Now, okay, I know it probably was not meant that way, but I'm saying how it could be construed by other Christians, that kind of seemed a little, I don't want to say nefarious, but a little bit mean. Would you call it mean? We'll
Now,
just call it mean.
I want to ask you something. I've seen that video. I wish I had it. I'd play it. But I've seen that video, and she was being heckled. Have you ever been heckled before? Have you ever
Every
been?
day.
Have you ever been somewhere where the comedian or the speaker was heckled from the crowd? I bet you haven't. She was
Well,
being
no, I
she,
haven't experienced.
she was
I've
being
seen it.
heckled, and she nicely told them, "You're probably Trump supporters anyway. Why don't you go on down the road?"
Well,
That was my
well,
interpretation of that.
Well. Okay, let's turn the table. Let's turn the tables. Let's say Donald Trump said that. Now, do you think you'd be having the same conversation with him? Oh my God, he was. Oh
Yeah,
my God, he was so against Christians, and he said that.
Why don't you go
and he
on?
said that.
Why
All
don't,
of a sudden, it's okay.
it's different. It's different with
How is
Harris
it
than it
different?
is because the Christian coalitions are backing Trump. They would be at his rallies unless they were trying to cause issues, which they were by heckling her.
Oh, well, you said the Christian Coalition was there?
Yeah, that's what those people were.
That's who those people were?
That's when you.
How do you know that?
When you equate them
How do you
to
know that?
Christians, how do you know it wasn't? You said they were
How do you
Christians.
know that?
The words right out of your mouth said that they were Christians, and those Christians
Yes,
probably
they are
belong to the
Christians.
coalition.
It don't mean they're in a
And they're there to
Christian
heckle her.
coalition.
And she very nicely
don't
responded to it.
necessarily
I thought
belong
she
to
did a
that
nice
group.
job with that, to be honest about it.
So okay. All right. So people listening, we had
Now go ahead and
a young lady
Go ahead and
putting down
misconstrue me.
Christians, and Mr. Morrow over here is accepting that and saying it's okay.
I never
So
said it
let's
was
move on.
okay. If
Go ahead.
it wasn't two wrongs don't make a right, does it? But two rights flew an airplane. The whole thing of it was, if they were wrong, she was wrong. Think about that a minute. You're getting heckled from somebody you have no idea who they are. I don't know how that they identified them.
So
How did they
someone said-
identify them as Christians?
Someone said Jesus Christ is Lord, and all of a sudden, you, as a Eucharistic minister in the Catholic Church, found that to be wrong. Now answer that. Answer that, Mr. Morrow.
Like I said,
Answer
she
that.
had no idea who they were, and they
So-
were heckling
in other
her.
words, you can't answer
They
the
were
question.
heckling her, so they were wrong.
Heckling, all they said was Jesus
Well,
Christ is Lord.
They were making a spectacle
Christ
of
is King.
them.
Christ
They
is
were
king.
making a spectacle of
Jesus Christ is Lord.
themselves.
So they were heckling?
Yeah. Anytime you overtalk a speaker, you're heckling them. You do that to me all the
It
time.
said Jesus Christ is Lord.
You do that to me all the time.
Christ is the King of Kings. You can't say that.
You can say it, but you don't have to interrupt the
You're
speaker.
a Eucharistic minister.
You don't have to
and you
overrun
are-
the speaker
you are
saying
telling
it.
me that those people should not have said those words.
Not publicly like that, no. Not being a spectacle, making a spectacle of themselves. I mean, go back
Maybe
to
they
the.
were trying-
Wait a minute. Go back to the Bible, Dale. What does it say when in the Bible? And I've read this before, so I know what it says. What does it say in the Bible about praying? Praying in silence, praying by yourself. If they want to pray like that, they should be praying by themselves in a corner somewhere.
Doesn't say every time you pray you have to pray by yourself.
It doesn't say you not to.
It says you can.
It doesn't say
Said
not
you
to.
can.
It doesn't say you can go make a spectacle of the Lord in front of a bunch of people in somewhere that you don't agree with. It doesn't say anything about that.
Spectacle of. Hey, now you just said that a spectacle of the Lord.
It's a spectacle of
How do you
yourself.
create the
You don't
spectacle
make a
of the Lord?
spectacle. You don't make a spectacle of yourself
How
preaching
do
the
you
Lord.
make a spectacle of the Lord? How
Now,
do
now
you,
go ahead and not
Eucharistic
listen
minister,
to. You're not listening
how
to
do you
a
make
damn
a
word I'm
spectacle
saying.
of the Lord?
You're not listening to a damn word I'm saying.
Say it again. I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna be a good boy.
You're not supposed to make a spectacle of yourself preaching the Lord. Everybody knows that. If you want to go to a rally, go to a Christian rally somewhere. That's where that stuff is welcomed. It's not welcomed in politics. Never has been, never will be, except for the other side. And if they would have went into that rally, do you think they would have yelled out like that? Yeah, whatever.
They didn't need to.
They didn't need to interrupt her either.
But you want to tell me where in the Bible that it says that you're not allowed to say Jesus Christ is Lord?
There you go, misconstruing me again.
Is that not our job as
Dale.
disciples of Christ?
You don't listen to me.
To move along the message of Jesus Christ.
Well, why didn't they do it at the Trump rally? Why'd they have to go pick on Harris?
Because they are trying to.
Because they were trying to make spectacles of themselves.
You don't need to do it at Trump rally. Most of those people there are already Christians.
Well, then they should have all joined in and joined hands and started singing Hallelujah.
Really? Okay. All right, or whatever. Okay. Hallelujah. Yeah, we want to do. You want to sing Kumbaya?
We can sing that next.
Okay, we can do some Kumbaya. You want to roll that out? I mean, come on. Next.
You got anything else on that topic, or any others? No?
Yeah, because what I did, I brought up Kamala, not basically dissing Christians and all you. But nobody,
I don't think.
Nobody talked about Kamala dissing Christians. You just went into, this once again
And once again, you didn't listen to half of what I said, or you.
So here's what I'm going to do.
With me right now.
Here's what I'm going to do today. I want to talk about Kamala talking shit about Christians, and anybody that listens, they understand where I was coming from. They understand the point. But we have your list of things that you wanted to cover today. You know what? Let's get after it.
All right. First thing, how about let's do something easy. Let's talk about the negative ads. This doesn't necessarily. We can either do that or we can do the Electoral College.
Move along.
Let's do the negative ads.
It's your show, right? It's your show.
Oh no, it's your show too. Your name's on it.
Well, okay, but I'm telling you, you gave on the rolling script on the front of the thing. This is what we're going to talk about today.
And I put the stuff.
We're going to talk about.
I put the stuff that you told me we were going to talk about in there too.
All right, we're going to talk about it. Let's go right down your road.
All right, let's talk.
Let's have it.
Let's talk about negative ads. I want to run a couple of things that I ran on Radioactive last night. That gets the point across. So let's take.
Which one? I'm sorry, I have to interrupt you for half a second. Which I will add. I will never talk about politics on another show. Dale is
this was not partisan.
I will never talk politics.
This was not partisan
on another
politics.
one of my shows. So you were out there.
No. There
trying
you
to
go,
feed
misconstruing me
your
again.
constituents, and that's what you did, and
No,
that's okay.
you
And
misconstrued
we'll move
me
along.
again.
We'll move along.
This was not partisan politics. This is just talking about these stinking ads, no matter who does them.
Really, toward the end there, where you was talking about Trump and stuff like that, that had nothing to do with partisan ads.
I don't remember
I
what I
was
was.
listening.
I don't remember.
Okay, I was listening.
I don't remember what I said
Of course,
about
I didn't
that.
record it, but I was listening. Anyways, I digress. Move along.
Let's do
But
these
people know what I'm
these
fucking
two
talking
clips
about.
that I used from Radioactive last night. You'll get the point here in a minute. We'll be right back. You're listening and hopefully watching The Art of Argument with Dale Pyles and Pat Morrow. We'll be right back.
Advertising, because chances are you've been watching and you've seen your share of political ads over the last couple of months. And even if it seems like it's too much, experts say they actually do motivate people to vote. Matt Gregory is exploring this for us. Advertising, because chances are you've been watching and you've seen your share of political ads over the last couple of months. And even if it seems like it's too much, experts say they actually do motivate people to vote. Matt Gregory is exploring this for us tonight. You and I were talking before we got on the air, and I thought, no, it doesn't work. And you said it might motivate people in a way we don't think of.
Yeah, Leslie, let's call it the science of political ads. These 30-second to 1-minute commercials may not be heavy on information, as you can see right there, but guess what? In the amount of time, that small amount, experts say it still makes a huge difference for undecideds in elections. It's election season.
Are you tired of seeing political ads?
Angela also Brooks brings tons of baggage.
You can't escape them.
I mean, yes, but they're necessary, though.
All because he opposes abortion.
The attack ads locked in.
More than enough, sure, yeah.
At least one person isn't sick of them.
And I'm really sorry, and it'll be over soon.
University of Maryland political scientist Dr. Candace Torito studies political ads, and she says there's two reasons for the ads. The first one is to pick up name recognition. The other?
As you get closer to the election, it moves from a persuasive effort to a turnout effort. But generally speaking, all political ads, the ones that are really good, are the ones that harness emotion.
Dr. Torito says the best emotion for candidates to harness, unfortunately, is
fear. Works a lot better than enthusiasm does, because it motivates voters to think that they need to take action to change the thing that is scaring them.
Every candidate has ads that prey on emotions.
From the other side, that Hogan's a schmuck, you know, and he's no good. But I know the guy. I know he's amazing. I love what he did for Maryland.
I guess I know the feeling I was supposed to be left with was like, I hate Angela Alsobrooks, but the feeling I actually had was annoyance towards Larry Hogan.
See, they picked up on the emotions of the ads. It just didn't work out the way the campaigns might have wanted in these cases. But for undecided voters,
you'd have voters walking away saying, Larry Hogan, bad abortion, Angela Alsobrooks, bad taxes, right? And one of those elements or one of those arguments might make you more afraid than the other. And so it might be a little bit stickier.
That stickiness will be one factor in who wins the night on Tuesday.
And voters decide as campaign season ramps up, we're seeing a lot more attack ads, so we asked legal experts if there were any laws against them.
As Josh Manny shows us, they say these ads are actually protected by free speech laws.
You give up a great deal of any kind of claim for libel or slander as you become more public.
In the 1960s, the Supreme Court case Sullivan versus the New York Times established the legal benchmark that if you take up public office, you cannot sue anyone for libeling or slandering you.
In a democracy, we're not expected to be sensitive or respectful. We want to be, but there's no requirement under the Constitution to do so. And there are individuals that push that envelope.
Lock-in tells us that free speech laws ostensibly protect political groups from lying or distorting the truth about opposing candidates.
Within the context of an election and politicians, the courts have been fairly consistent on this, both at the state and the national level. We have to respect the highest possible protection of free speech. We've seen it exercised in national campaigns in ways that seem to be unlike anything we've ever witnessed.
And while it's a new trend that smaller races are getting more venomous, it's not unprecedented.
as bad as things are today, if you look back in the 1800s, they were actually significantly worse and nastier. Families, kids, wives, they were all fair game for somebody if you were going after a political opponent. And it was pretty nasty stuff.
Unique to Nevada, Political Group's financial reporting is not due until July, after the statewide primary this Tuesday. So the lack of transparency at the moment could be driving the vitriolic messaging up.
The result of that is a lot of these independent groups, and they're groups that are not directly funded by a campaign or a candidate, they are a little bit more liberated to go after folks because you don't have the ammunition there if you're their opponent to say, hey, look, they're being funded by so-and-so.
Voters decide. Josh Penny, 2 News Nevada.
And Josh also found those who enter politics should expect to take lumps sometimes.
Yeah, and for example, Nevada's Attorney General Aaron Ford had run-ins with the law when he was young, and it was brought out against him in the 2022 Nevada AG race.
So what do you think?
I think that the young lady was like the Vanna White of politics. She's pretty damn cute. She looked good.
I'll have to tell you said that.
I mean, sorry. I mean, she did. She was a very beautiful woman. Other than that, I mean, they kind of laid it out. If you want to talk shit, if you want to lie, it's perfectly legal. We've seen it done, especially, and you're going to get mad at me for saying this, against Donald Trump about how he's going to do this and he's going to do that and he's going to do something else, which are things that are impossible for him to do without Congress and, the Senate. It's all of it's a mind trick. And that's what these ads are set up to do. Whether it be Donald Trump or whether it be Kamala Harris, these ads, or Marino, I know you hate him, or Sherrod Brown, the ads are made to look as though the other person is worse than the other individual, and that's just what they do. And apparently, for whatever reason, the Supreme Court said, oh, you can lie your fucking teeth off and it's okay. I don't agree with that, but unfortunately, it's the law of the land, and I see that happening a lot, especially in the opposite direction. Now, you may differ in opinion on that, but I mean, I don't agree with it. I think you should have to speak the truth. That's where I stand on it. You should have to speak the truth.
I hate to say this, but I agree with you. What do you think as far as maybe limiting the time they can do these ads?
Well,
just case in point here, I know a couple of these commissions started some of this crap around the first of the year, and they weren't very nice ads. It was tell Sherrod Brown to do this and tell so and so to do that, and the ads weren't very nice. Do you think there should be some sort of a limit on them? Or let's take this a little wider range. Or do you think that nationally there should be a limitation on it?
Well, okay, let's now we're getting into a sticky wicket. I heard you bring this same topic up in your show last night. And I've heard it, things come up. One individual said, one thing we have is the First Amendment. You have the right to speak your mind as long as you're not doing anything ridiculous. You have the right to speak your mind. And it doesn't tell you how long you have the right to speak your mind. Like one thing you brought up was Bernie Moreno. Now, apparently, allegedly, whatever, I'm not going to say you're wrong. He's been campaigning for quite a long time, approximately 3 years from what I think I heard you say.
That's about right.
Okay. So, but with the First Amendment and the way things work, well, what are you going to fault the guy? He's allowed to do that. If he's got the money to do that and he can do that, he should be allowed to do that. Now, on the other hand, he's got the right to campaign and do his thing. Now, as like you, the average Joe sitting down watching television, do you want to see these effing commercials? No. And a matter of fact, I mean, today you don't want to see those commercials because trust me, you knew who you were going to vote for a long time ago. All those people, I don't know if you voted absentee or whatever.
No, I vote. I go to the poll.
Or if you plan on going to the poll tomorrow, whatever. But you already know in your mind who you're voting for, and you're going to go right down the list, and you're going to vote for those people. And that's a decision you've already made. So the things that they are saying mean nothing to you. But when you're trying to watch your favorite show and you got to deal with the shit over and over and over again, yeah, it's going to piss you off. Now, coming from me, I do not watch television. I just, generally speaking, unless I decide to like hang out with a wife and she tends to even move to the movie channels, I watch the movie channels where I can watch a movie or I can watch this or that, and I don't have to deal with that stuff. So when you complain about Bernie Moreno for 3 years, I'm like, really? That's been happening for 3 years? Because I never saw it, because I don't watch mainstream TV, because one, I don't want to see mainstream media and all the things that come with it. So I don't watch normal television. And there are probably some very good TV shows out there, but I don't watch them because I don't want to deal with that shit. And that's how I avoid that.
There's a couple of shows on Thursday night, and those are about the only two I watch, at least on regular television. I don't have the patience to watch anything like the stupid shows, you know, like that one that's got all the costumes on it, the Masked Singer. I ain't got time for that. And even Dancing with the Stars got old after a while. You know, you
got old a long time ago.
You got to ask yourself, you know, what these people are trying to do advertising a year and a half in. You're not going to remember that. The typical public, you know, the typical public lemming, like there are, is going to see that stuff on TV. It's going to hit their eyes for a split second. That's all it's going to be. You know, so, you know, in my eyes, why are these people or why are these places wasting all that money on stuff that's not going to happen for a year and a half or 2 years? And like I said, some of these places have been advertising way over a year. Some of these, like the Senate race has been Hell, I remember commercials clear back in December, seeing ads for both of them, and they were starting to get dirty then. Dirty stuff like that. If I was gonna take and run for office, heaven forbid that should happen. But if I'm going to run for office, I'm going to tell you, Dale, this is what I'm going to do. I want to take and try to work on. I want to try to work on fair politics. I want to try to work on. I'm going to see if I can get your roads better and improve the infrastructure. And this is the kind of stuff I would be telling you. These negative ads, well, all they do is make both of them look like idiots. The guy that's slinging all the mud is going to look as bad as the guy he's slinging the mud on. Don't you think?
You have to understand, if you really look at it, both of them are slinging mud.
Why can't they tell me what the hell
the mud's slinging from both directions?
What the hell?
So don't act like just like one guy is slinging mud.
Why can't they tell me what the hell they're going to do? What they're going to do when they get in office?
Well, unfortunately, I have to agree with you. Why don't they? Why don't they? I mean, that's what the American people want. I want to know what you're going to do. But unfortunately, you have too many people say that, and it's gone on so many times in the past, I'm going to do this, 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 and this. And then they get into office and they do exactly the opposite of that. And then, you got a $200,000, whatever the price is, senator that walks out of Congress as a freaking millionaire because of, all the horse shit that they've, helped
because of the contributions he's got.
I mean, trust me. I mean, you're a Democrat. I'm a Republican. Okay. We established that a long fucking time ago.
Yep.
But we both have the same thoughts, and it's about somebody caring about the American people and wanting to do better for the American people, not just playing the role, not just acting like it. It's somebody that really wants to do that. And that's what it is.
Another thing that kind of irks me, and I said this when he ran for Senate here, was that J.D. Vance. I knew he wasn't gonna do nothing for Ohio, and he still hasn't. All he did was use us as a stepping stone to get himself further. Is that wrong? I don't care. But he made all those promises back when he was running for Senate. Didn't do a damn one of them.
What promises did he make?
Oh, he was. There was a couple. I don't remember. Now that you put me on the spot.
Right. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. See, that's my point.
Well, the thing of it is, I don't know that he even acted as a senator. I don't know if he was actually representing us or not.
Oh, he was. You can go back and look at his votes.
Yeah, that's what I think. I may have to try that.
Just like when, I forget who it was they were talking about, but you go back at his votes, you could see that. Oh, was that commercial about the one Democrat that did this, and this, and so we're not going to get into all that, but if you go into the voting record, I've seen the commercial. You can see a voting record of what he voted for, and all the things he says he didn't vote for, he did.
Yep.
Don't remember who it was, so I'm not disparaging anyone, but these are little things that I've seen in the election process.
Well, the other question that comes to mind, and I don't know if I even ought to bring this up again or not, but why if J.D. Vance was so for Ohio, why didn't he see the stuff about the immigrants eating the cats and dogs and put a stop to it and say, hey, we need to take and send some funds to these people to help them. Yeah, that's one of the more of these negative crap that I'm just about done with it. I'm going to be so happy tomorrow after midnight tomorrow night when those ads disappear. I ain't going to miss them a bit. Anyway, let's.
Well, but you just took that last little dig.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. You got anything
so
else?
the guy
away.
is watching over his whole area, and he just should be like spotted down on.
Well, I'm just telling the truth about him.
And
what did he do for you?
He made comments about it.
What did he do for you? What did he do for Dale Pyles?
What? Where did those people come from?
Where did
they come from? How did they get there?
He should have known.
How did they get there?
He should have known how they got there.
When the U.S. government shipped
Sherrod Brown knew they were coming.
Oh, exactly. You catch my drift? You catch my drift?
Well, why didn't
the Democrat knew they were coming?
Then why didn't a Republican?
That's exactly my question.
Then why didn't a Republican?
That's exactly my question.
Things that
exactly
make you go.
Okay, so go on. What were you wanting to say? I told you. You got open forum today.
I told you I was coming at you too. We're not even halfway through it yet.
All right, come on. I told you. You got the floor.
Let's talk about something you and I are probably going to be in agreement on.
Oh shit! Here we go.
I've watched. I ran this other clip on the Electoral College last night. I want to run it again. There are some things in there that start making me think. And you and I had this discussion. I want to run this just so that you can actually see what I saw.
All right.
And I'm beginning to wonder I'm beginning to think I would probably support that thing being done away with. Dale Miracle had some pretty valid points on it last night.
Oh yeah, I bet he did.
And I was. I started thinking about it after we talked, and it all kind of makes sense. And it seems like let me run the clip first so we can talk about this. We'll be right back. You're watching the Art of Argument with Pat and Dale. We'll be right back.
If you watch the news during a presidential election, you'll hear a lot of this.
What do the national polls look like?
Hillary Clinton's nationally, Joe Biden is currently ahead.
But these national polls don't actually tell you who's going to win.
Throw the national polls out the window. They don't matter at all. What matters are those swing states.
Ah, yes, the swing states. Most democracies around the world elect their head of state with a popular vote, so whoever gets the most votes wins. But in America, we do it a little differently. The U.S. is the only country that picks its president using something called the Electoral College. It's made up of delegates from each U.S. state. When Americans vote for president, what they're actually voting for is who their state will vote for. This is why, every so often, someone wins the presidency without winning the popular vote. That's happened twice in just the past 20 years. The majority of Americans do not like the system, and haven't for a long time. Both political parties have made attempts to get rid of it. So why does the U.S. still use the Electoral College? And who actually benefits from it? The Electoral College is based on how people are represented in Congress, where each state has a number of representatives based on its population, and every state also gets 2 senators. So, for example, let's look at Texas, which has a huge population, and Vermont, which has a really small one. Texas has 36 representatives in Congress. Vermont only gets 1. Representatives in both states each represent roughly the same number of people. In the Electoral College, a state gets the same number of delegates as their congressional representatives, plus 2 for each senator. So Texas has 38 electoral votes, Vermont has 3. But this combination makes the number of people each delegate represents way different between states. In Texas, 1 electoral delegate represents 3 times the amount of people as 1 in Vermont. And that makes each individual person's vote in Vermont a lot more influential. The Electoral College creates discrepancies like this all over the country. A voter in Wyoming is worth 3.5 times as much as a voter in California. And the winner of the presidential election is the candidate who gets 270 or more of these Electoral College votes. These are the results of the 2016 election by state. You're probably more familiar with this version of it, a map of red states and blue states. But this chart tells a different story. You can see that no state is actually all red or all blue. But almost every state awards its electoral votes the same way. The candidate who gets the most votes in a state gets all its electoral votes. If they win the state by 1%, they win 100% of the electoral votes. In 2016, more than 4 million people voted for Donald Trump in California. In fact, more people voted for him there than in any other state except for 2. But it didn't matter. Hillary Clinton got more votes there, so she got all 55 of its electoral votes. Clinton never even campaigned in California. Polling showed she'd easily win the state. Trump only visited Texas once. He knew he'd basically had that state's electoral votes locked. But they both visited Florida 35 or more times. That's because Florida is usually a swing state. Polls show that the vote there could swing to one party or another nearly every election. Trump only won it in 2016 by 100,000 votes, out of more than 9 million. Swing states have changed over time thanks to shifting demographics and political views, and it's states like these where presidential candidates spend most of their time campaigning. It also means these states have way more influence over the election than these ones. A study found that voters in Michigan had 51 times the amount of influence on the 2016 election as someone from a state like Utah. Voters in states like California or Missouri mattered very little. Swing states are where the election actually takes place. They get the attention and the influence, and they only exist because of the Electoral College. It doesn't seem very fair. But the Electoral College has always shifted power away from some people and towards others. It was how it was designed. Back when there were just a few states, not 50, they had to get all the states to agree on the Constitution. One problem. The northern states, which were largely anti-slavery, wanted only free people to count in the population towards electoral votes, which they had more of. The pro-slavery southern states were worried that they would be constantly outvoted, and wanted enslaved people to count in determining the population. As a compromise, they settled on something called the 3/5 Clause. It established that an enslaved person would only count as 3/5 of a person. In 1800, Pennsylvania, a northern state, and Virginia, a southern one, had about the same number of free people living there, but Virginia was also home to hundreds of thousands of enslaved people who had no freedom, let alone a vote, and ended up with more votes in the Electoral College than Pennsylvania. That year, those extra electoral votes gave the candidate from Virginia just enough to win. Even after the U.S. finally abolished slavery and eventually gave Black Americans the right to vote, white Southern leaders found ways to keep them from voting, like with discriminating laws like poll taxes and acts of violence. This meant they continued to have overrepresentation in the Electoral College on behalf of a large population that couldn't vote. The first time Congress attempted to replace the Electoral College with a simple popular vote was back in 1816, but senators from southern states blocked it, saying it would be deeply injurious to them. In 1969, Congress came even closer. Replacing the Electoral College had support in both parties, and even passed the House, but it was blocked again by Southern senators. A senator from Alabama wrote, "The Electoral College is one of the South's few remaining political safeguards. Let's keep it. Why change a system that historically had and still was benefiting white Southerners?" Today, the states that the Electoral College benefits have changed, but it's still making some voters more powerful than others. If we look at the states with a lot of electoral votes for not a lot of people, and the states with a little electoral votes for a lot of people, these states are a lot wider and less diverse than the rest of America. And many of these states are Republican strongholds. These tend to vote Democratic. That's one reason the two most recent Republican presidents have won the Electoral College without winning the popular vote. And since it's currently Democrats that are primarily disadvantaged by the Electoral College, they're the ones leading the charge to replace it with a popular vote.
Get rid of the Electoral College and everybody.
But as politics have changed, the people most critical of the Electoral College have too. In the 1948 presidential election, New York ended up being the major swing state. A congressman from Texas said, "I have no objection to the Negro in Harlem voting, but I do resent the fact that his vote is worth 100 times as much as the vote of a white man in Texas." Swing states change. What doesn't is that the Electoral College gives certain people more power to pick the president. And its biggest defenders have always been those who benefit the most from it.
So what do you think?
I call that propaganda.
You think so? Why do you think
Yes,
it's
sir.
propaganda?
Well, the first thing that we need to get into, and we talked about it on our last show, that, of course, miraculously disappeared, is the democracy. You hear the Democrats screaming, "Oh, we're going to kill the democracy. We're going to do this to the democracy. We're going to do that to the democracy." Well, guess what, folks? You do not live in a democracy. We live in a republic. And that's why the country was set up the way that it is. So that you have a state like California that has so many people living in it, doesn't have more power than another state. It's about making all the states equal and all of them deciding on, who's going to be president of the United States. I mean, Texas, for example. Texas can't speak on behalf of the whole entire country. What that state feels, what that state feels. They can't speak on the rest of the country. And the idea is to have all 50 states come together and speak upon who they feel should be elected.
It's not fair that you've got an electoral college that only goes by so many states. Your swing states is where the election is. You win the swing states, you've won.
No, you can win the other states.
But if it's the Electoral College that decides who's
that's
who's
the
won.
problem.
And that's why I think we should get rid of it.
That's the problem. Everybody thinks, okay, these are the swing states. These are ones that count. So the other 40 don't matter. They assume this state is going to go Democratic. This state is going to go Republican. And they say, oh, these are the swing states. These are the ones that are going to make a difference. Well, guess what? Every state matters.
Not in the Electoral College, it don't.
Oh, yes, it does.
No, it don't. They're just, the Electoral College is whoever has the most, whoever wins the 270 votes from there is the one that goes to the damn White House.
Sure.
But
because that's
I
a
think,
representation of the whole country.
I personally think that it's past its time for that thing. I think that it ought to be done by the popular vote.
Well, then you need to live in a democracy.
Well, let's do that.
The fact of the matter is, you do not live in one.
Yeah.
And our forefathers set this system for a reason. And exactly for people like you that go, oh, well, I think what I believe should win. Well, that's not always the case.
Yeah, it is in my world.
That's right. It is in your world.
Let's get into some of the national stuff now. I got 3 things left that.
Well, the national stuff. I guess we weren't into that before.
The specifically the Republican candidate. I got. I had held back on putting anything like this on this show, and I pretty much decided, well, since I'm letting him have the whole ball of wax, I figured, what the hell, we'll talk about it anyway. I want to run these 2 clips, and I want you to. I may run one, then we'll pause, and then run the other one. But I want your comments on these. So we're going to do another clip, folks. We'll be right back.
But Arnold Palmer was all man, and I say that in all due respect to women, and I love women. But this is a guy that was all man. But Arnold Palmer was all man, and I say that in all due respect to women, and I love women. But this is a guy that was all man. This man was strong and tough. And I refuse to say it, but when he took showers with the other pros, they came out of there, they said, oh my God, that's unbelievable. I had to say it.
4 days out from Election Day, and former President Donald Trump is escalating his violent rhetoric, suggesting one of his most prominent critics, the former Congresswoman Liz Cheney, should be fired upon.
She's a radical war hawk. Let's put her with a rifle standing there with 9 barrels shooting at her, okay? Let's see how she feels about it. You know, when the guns are trained on her face. You know, they're all war hawks when they're sitting in Washington in a nice building saying, oh, gee, let's send 10,000 troops right into the mouth of the enemy.
Let's see how she feels when the guns are trained on her face. Let's sit with that for a moment. Of course, violent rhetoric, it's not new for Trump. But this stark imagery represents an escalation at a tense moment when the country is on edge heading into Tuesday, with 7 in 10 Americans saying they feel anxious or frustrated about the election, according to a new AP poll. And it comes after Trump has raised the specter of using the U.S. military on Americans he calls the enemy within.
I think the bigger problem is the enemy from within, not even the people that have come in and destroying our country. By the way, totally destroying our country. The towns, the villages, they're being inundated. But I don't think they're the problem in terms of Election Day. I think the bigger problem are the people from within. We have some very bad people. We have some sick people, radical left lunatics. It should be very easily handled by, if necessary, by National Guard, or if really necessary, by the military.
Throughout the last nearly 10 years, with Trump on the national stage, the public rhetoric has gotten darker and more violent with time.
The man that was I don't know, you say roughed up. He was so obnoxious and so loud. He was screaming. Maybe he should have been roughed up because it was absolutely disgusting what he was doing.
That was during Trump's first campaign. During his administration, he asked his national security team if he could shoot protesters.
He was speaking to General Mark Milley when he asked that question of, can't you just shoot him in the legs or something? And I was, shocked by it to hear this from the President of the United States saying that we shoot our fellow Americans in the streets of the nation's capital.
That was Donald Trump's former defense secretary, Mark Esper. After Trump left office, he suggested the former chairman of the Joint Chiefs, General Mark Milley, should possibly be executed. Milley's phone call with the Chinese to reassure them in the wake of the January 6th riot was, quote, an act so egregious that in times gone by, the punishment would have been death, Trump wrote on his Truth Social platform. Then came his 2024 campaign after actual violence erupted at the Capitol, trying to prevent the certification of Joe Biden's 2020 win.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the horribly and unfairly treated January 6th hostages.
You see the spirit from the hostages, and that's what they are, as hostages. They've been treated terribly. Unbelievable patriots, and they were unbelievable patriots and are.
He called people put in jail for what they did that day, quote, unbelievable patriots. And as the campaign has gone on, he has made these promises.
I am your warrior. I am your justice. And for those who have been wronged and betrayed, I am your retribution. I am your retribution. And 2024 is the final battle. That's going to be the big one.
This is the final battle, he says. He's talking about the election happening 4 days from now. In her closing argument of this campaign, his opponent, Kamala Harris, had this warning.
Donald Trump intends to use the United States military against American citizens who simply disagree with him.
That's where we are 4 days from Election Day in 2024. Joining us now to discuss, Elliot Williams, CNN legal analyst, former federal prosecutor, Jonah Goldberg, CNN political commentator, co-founder and editor-in-chief of The Dispatch, Megan Hayes, former director of message planning for the Biden White House, and
all right, that's really all I wanted to use off of that clip. What about the violence? What about promoting violence like that? Saying Liz Cheney needed put in front of a firing squad. How do you back that up?
I don't think.
Or actually having 9 guns pointed at her. How do you?
Yeah, exactly. Not being put in a firing squad. What he's saying was, what if that was you? What if that was you? And that was, I truly believe, what was being said. What if that was you and you were in that predicament? What would you think? And not oh God, let's go out and let's just shoot this person.
Well, that's what he was saying.
This is coming from a guy that's been shot at fucking twice.
He wanted
that,
He was asking if the soldiers could shoot people in the legs.
You know what? If
condoning the violence, man.
If you're doing wrong,
he's radical.
If you're doing wrong, and he said shoot you in the legs,
guess radical.
What? You're a lucky individual.
You can't turn your American military on your own citizens. That's unheard of.
He didn't say that. He didn't say that.
Shooting them in the legs? Who's going to shoot him in the leg then? Him? That article said that he said that he asked the military if somebody was protesting if they could shoot him in the legs. Well, that's turning your military against your own people.
Well, no.
Yeah, whatever.
Okay, whatever. Go on. Move on to your next topic. Or continue with this one. Go ahead.
Yeah, it just, to me, he's just between making the statements that are so raw, I can't even put them on I can't even run them on this station.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Can't be no cuss words on.
Did you see the microphone? Did you see that? That was.
I did. Now,
that was
the
vulgar.
context of it.
That was flipping
the context
vulgar.
of it, I did not see, but I saw the little bleep of.
That was flipping vulgar. You want that vulgarity coming out of a president?
How that occurred. I did not see that whole thing. I cannot speak on it. So I will allow you to, make all your comments and gestures about this. But yes, I did see the video, but I didn't see the whole video that tells me what he said before and what he said after.
He was pissed off because
that whole thing went down.
He was pissed off because of a microphone. He was pissed off because his microphone wasn't working. And he made some vulgar comment about it.
Well, my microphone ain't
and he goes,
working.
"Did you see that?"
Comment about it too.
Did you see that? Jesus Christ! How people could? Oh, I'm sorry. I digress. I'm trying.
No, you ain't.
I'm trying.
Go ahead. Move on. Move along.
No, I got one more topic that I wanna throw at you. Now that I got y'all full of mud.
Oh yeah.
And you're really trumping now, boy.
Oh, I'm trumping.
This one I'm gonna surprise you with, because it wasn't really him that said it, but it was at his rally. This is interesting. Hang on a minute. Let's play this.
Oh, no.
Former President Donald Trump is now scrambling to do damage control after a comedian at his rally in Madison Square Garden called Puerto Rico a floating island of garbage. The crude remarks came on the heels of a recent Trump visit to the Former President Donald Trump is now scrambling to do damage control after a comedian at his rally in Madison Square Garden called Puerto Rico a floating island of garbage. The crude remarks came on the heels of a recent Trump visit to the barber shop right behind me, where he hoped to gain support from the Puerto Rican community.
This is what I do every morning.
At the Knockout Barber Shop in the Bronx,
I just leave it there. Whoever wants to play.
It's about culture,
Puerto Rico means everything for me.
pride,
Puerto Rico.
music,
We got the salsa music. So CQ.
and community.
I was born here, raised in Puerto Rico.
Javier Rodriguez Sr.
My father used to be a barber.
followed in his father's footsteps
He teach me, and I became one of the best barbers in town.
and passed down his skills to his son, Javier Rodriguez Jr.
This is my son's chair. Is that one? He's the owner of the place.
At this family-owned shop, no issue is off limits.
Nah, still making a decision.
Earlier this month, the shop was buzzing.
Donald Trump came here.
A visit by former President Donald Trump in hopes of gaining Latino support. But in that same month, a rally in New York City shook the Trump campaign.
There's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah. I think it's called Puerto Rico.
Crude remarks from comedian Tony Hinchcliffe during a Trump rally in Madison Square Garden left Latinos reeling.
I was definitely uncomfortable with the joke.
When I heard that, I said, what? This guy say? He hurts my feelings because I'm Puerto Rican.
The remarks also ignited fury and outrage.
This is a reminder of the many insults, the way that Puerto Rico has been always characterized by Trump as disposable, as an island that is of people that are lazy and dirty.
To help with damage control, Trump emphasized his support for Latinos at a rally in Pennsylvania.
Nobody loves our Latino community and our Puerto Rican community more than I do.
But back here in the Bronx neighborhood,
Puerto Rico means everything for me. I used to call Eddie Palmieri, Coro. I'm here, right on top. You gotta be on top.
Some say they're brushing off the remarks.
It was just a bad joke.
Puerto Rico is in that position because who's running it? The Blue Party is running it. It's not helping Puerto Rico to grow and be better.
Rodriguez Sr. says he feels good about his vote.
Do you regret voting for Donald Trump
No.
after what was said at the rally?
No, I didn't.
But for others who call this block home,
He's very racist.
it's more personal.
That right there should have changed their mind about a lot of people about voting for him. Kamala for the women.
No matter the outcomes of this election, business here
People got different opinions of things, you know? You gotta respect that too, you know? Because I got my own opinion.
is open to everyone. Addie Guajardo, Scripps News, New York.
A floating pile of garbage. Now, the thing that is kind of comical here is that New York, the island of, I think it's Staten Island, was pretty much made of garbage. It was a garbage dump there for a long time, and it ended up becoming an island.
From what I've heard, it still is.
And it pretty much still is, right?
I digress.
But making a comment and having somebody like that at your rally, wow. Just wow.
You didn't hear the individual that was...
Yeah, I heard the one that said that he was okay with voting for him.
Okay.
I heard that. I'll give that to you. I'll give you that props. But then again, how many votes did you lose by that comment? Is it going to be enough to make any difference? You never know. If you're fighting for one vote, what do you think?
You know, at this point, I don't think we're fighting for one vote. I really don't. Like I said, as long as anything is honest and down the road, I don't think we're talking about one vote here.
I don't think so either.
I think you have Mr. Trump as a landslide. Well, I'm not going to call it a landslide, but a clear winner over Kamala. The way that she moved into that spot, I think, is nefarious. But you know, whatever.
I hate to say it, but I don't see it your way.
She has, you know, gone out and done her thing, and the polls, you can kiss my ass, because a lot of them, they're kind of taking answers from the other polls and rolling it into the new polls, and that's where they come up with their percentages. When if you actually look at the most recent shit, Trump's ahead by a good chunk.
I don't think so anymore.
And you know, listen.
When Biden left,
we'll all see what happens in the next couple of days, and then we'll all have to live with it in the next couple of days. I mean, that's kind of where it's at.
I got one last clip, and I'm not sure if I ought to even play it. We're running a little long here, but you want to do one more clip? This really,
sure, go ahead.
This is really predicting the future to me.
I told you I'll talk to you all day long. I used to all the time.
And I think, get ready, because at the end of the show, if you want to, I'm going to give you your 2 minutes to make your closing statement for election 2024 if you want to do it. I've got a couple of things that I want to, I'll expend upon.
Expand is the word you're looking for.
Expand upon, that's what I said. You want to let it
you said expand. But anyways, go on.
There you go, not listening to me again.
Oh, I was listening. That's why I said that.
Anyway, let's run this last one. You'll see what it is when...
okay, let's expend this.
Let's expedite this. Be back in a minute.
If there's one thing Donald Trump has made clear, It's that he doesn't trust election results when he loses.
I just went through a rigged election.
They want to try and steal an election.
Our elections are bad.
This year's presidential race looks to be the tightest. If there's one thing Donald Trump has made clear, it's that he doesn't trust election results when he loses.
I just went through a rigged election.
They want to try and steal an election.
Our elections are bad.
This year's presidential race looks to be the tightest since modern polling began. If Kamala Harris wins, Donald Trump won't give up without a fight. But just how messy could things get?
We won the election in 2020. Who the hell knows what's going to be in 2024?
The nadir for modern American politics came on January 6, 2021.
What are we here for? To stop the steal.
That was when violent supporters of Trump attacked the Capitol, trying to stop Vice President Mike Pence from certifying the election of President Joe Biden. Since then, Donald Trump's machine has been gearing up to fight another loss this year. In Arizona, Republicans have launched a lawsuit to remove 500,000 entries from the state's voter rolls. In Georgia, the State Board of Elections passed a rule that would make counties hand count ballot results, and local officials are now allowed to undertake reasonable inquiry into claims of fraud before they certify. There are similar challenges in every battleground state.
If we don't win this election, there may never be another election in this country. It could happen.
But the real fight starts after Election Day. First, if Trump lost, he would take any election fraud claims up with governors and secretaries of state who certify state election results, just as he did in Georgia after the 2020 election.
I just want to find 11,780 votes.
During the 2022 midterms, Trump played kingmaker, trying to get those top state officials onto his side. He endorsed candidates who parroted his claims of election fraud, but many of them lost. Even if a few officials at the county level actually refuse to certify their results, state judges are expected to force them to do so quickly. Trump could then try to take his case before federal judges and perhaps all the way up to the Supreme Court. This could make Democrats nervous. The Supreme Court has a large conservative majority. Trump appointed 3 of the current justices, but almost all judges have been skeptical of Trump's election claims when they've been made previously. If they don't back his case, Trump could try to disrupt the congressional count on January 6, 2025. But here, too, the rules have changed, and not in Trump's favor. The previous rules required 1 House member and 1 senator to force Congress to consider challenges to a state's vote. Now, 87 members of the House and 20 senators would have to agree in order for Congress to adjourn its session and consider a rejection. Even if Trump got those votes, he'd need a majority of both chambers to actually overturn a state's electoral votes, and that is very unlikely to happen. Ultimately, America will see a successful transfer of power, even if, like the previous time, it is not peaceful. Riots exactly like those in 2021 are unlikely. Joe Biden will ensure that the Capitol is well defended in 2025. But to have democracy work well, you need losers' consent and belief that elections are free and fair. The seeds of doubt Trump has sown for years will have political consequences even after he is long gone from power.
That's all I've got for tonight. What do you think?
I think that's a little bit
more propaganda. More propaganda.
Going down that road.
Well, I think that
I digress.
I think that some of the stuff in there was fairly true. You have to consider every time he's lost since 2016, he's whined about stuff being unfair.
Well, that's the only time he lost. Every time he's lost.
There was some other stuff I thought he ran for that he didn't get. I could be wrong.
And actually, in 2016, if I'm not mistaken, he won. It was 2020 that he lost.
Yeah.
So 2016, he won.
And
so
he never complained about unfair elections then.
Well, no shit. I mean, come on.
Because he won.
No shit. You're gonna be like, oh, that shit was fucked up. But then when you have the whole entire, what you're not looking at the whole picture. When you see you're being attacked from every angle, no matter what you do, no matter how you move, and things like that, and you wonder why 2016 went down the way it did, and I truly believe that the voting was not proper. I mean, when you have bags of votes brought in late night out of nowhere, and every single vote is for the same individual. Now,
I don't know this to be fact.
I have to question that.
I don't know this to be fact.
You could not walk down your street
and
not find something different. If you walk down your street, you're going to find somebody that disagrees with your politics. Now, so all these bags all of a sudden, boom, boom, and right in the swing states, right at these, these spots where they need to be, and then all of a sudden, all these votes. I mean, come on, I scream out something nefarious may have been going on.
Yeah, that's what he thinks too. None of the courts agreed with him. Excuse me.
Well, no shit, because they're just...
Nobody agreed with him.
No. Whether it happened or not doesn't matter with whether they agree with him or not.
You have no...
And everybody knows it.
You've had no blatant...
whatever.
There's been no blatant evidence that there was anything like that.
If bags of votes are not blatant...
Show us the pictures of them.
Really?
You got a picture? Yeah, really.
I gotta show you a picture.
Yeah. How can I believe?
Apologize.
How can I believe?
I do not have a picture. Were you around in 2020? I'm pretty sure you were. You know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I don't need a goddamn picture to show you what the fuck I'm talking about.
How can you tell? How can you prove it? How can he prove it? Did he have pictures of it? Evidently not, because he lost all his
exactly.
cases.
But you want to badmouth him over some dumb bullshit?
I'm not badmouthing him. I'm just.
Oh really?
I'm just
really?
calling it into question. That's all.
Yeah, you have badmouthed him all night long.
I'm just calling it into question. That's all.
Let's get fucking real. Move along, son. Move along.
Yeah, we probably ought to let you off the hook. I'm going to give you. Let's see.
Move along.
It's 9:27 now. You can have till 9:30 to state your piece. Give us your closing on election Monday, or the day before the election Monday. Let's hear it.
Well, it's fairly simple for you. If you want the economy to go back to where it was and be able to go down to the grocery store and buy some food and buy whatever else you need and do it at a reasonable price, you vote for Donald Trump. If you want to go down to the local gas station and buy a gallon of gas and have it not be at a ridiculous price, which, I paid well over $3 a gallon, and gas prices have gone down.
I thought $2.79.
Then, you can go vote for the other guy. If you are looking for a government where you're strong again and America actually means something to the people around them. That, you know, America is always supposed to be strong. And I'm not saying that that's America's job, but America has always been strong. And they has always shown the rest of the country a little bit of act right. These things in Ukraine would not be going on. China thinking that they're going to go take over Taiwan would not be happening. All these other instances would not be happening because you would have a strong commander-in-chief in the Oval Office. So all I say is, you know, maybe I haven't given you every single point that you need to know, but I just say, hey, look into your heart. Look into your heart and decide what is it and what world do I want to live in? Do I want to live in the world of this, or do I want to live in the world of that? See, you notice I didn't downgrade Kamala Harris or anything like that. I'm like, just you choose. You want to go on a Donald Trump world, or you want to go into a Kamala world? It's up to you. Go to the polls, vote your conscience, do what you feel is right for you, and just what I ask for at the end of the day is a vote. That's all I ask for. You can agree with this guy over here at the other side of the screen, and you can think he's the second coming of Christ. I don't care. If that's what you want to vote for, and that's the way you want your life to go ahead and vote for it. But if you feel differently, then you know you have other options. So, at the end of the day, get out there and vote.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Get out there and vote.
That's exactly where I'm probably going to come from here in a minute. If you've watched this show for the last several episodes, you know that how Dale and I get along. Dale and I are born to argue. That's why we decided to do this show. Our political stands are pretty different. I'm a lot older than he is. I've been around a lot longer. I've witnessed stuff that from my aspect that I can't believe happens. There's an old quote that I've used all the time. I'm living in a world I simply do not understand. Okay, as far as the election and closing this out, Dale I will agree with one point. You need to vote your conscience, but if you don't do anything else for you, your family, or anything else, go to the poll and vote if you haven't already. If you've done the mail-in thing, that's all well and good. That's fine. We appreciate your patrioticness and all that. I will say, as far as the two parties, I've tried to be on the middle of the road, but there are times that I just can't be. I'm not a Trump supporter. I never have been. I've decided back in August who I was going to vote for. I've never told anybody. But, you know, you can tell by some of my actions and stuff like that.
I'm not a Trump supporter, but I will tell everybody.
It's probably going to be Kamala. But the whole thing of it, a lot of people are doing, they're not voting for Trump or Harris. they're voting for the parties, and especially the Republicans are doing that. And I don't care if you agree with me or Dale or whatever. The whole thing comes down to what's good for this country, and what do you want running this country? Do you want a bunch of Twitter posts and bullshit like happened between 2016 and 2020, where if you're going to find any news, you got to pick up your phone and all of a sudden Twitter opens up and you got 15 things there about, I decided I'm doing this and this is not fair and this and that. And yeah, I just, that's not the politics for my world. My world is a politics. You're going to tell me what you're going to do and what your plan is for America. And that's to be honest about it, neither one of the candidates are really saying that. And as far as the local stuff here goes too, none of them are saying what they're going to do. So you're the one that's got to sit there and flip the coin. And God save us all if we're wrong. If we're wrong, we're the ones that are going to have to live with it. And, like I said, I don't care if you vote for Harris, I'm not going to sit here and condone either one. All I'm saying at the end of the day, at the end of this election, get out and vote. That's the whole thing. Go to your local poll, put that X mark on that ballot, and turn it in and vote. You're the ones that's going to run this country. You're the ones that are in charge of this right now. I don't care if you're male, female, or what, but I'm going to tell you what, if this election, as far as I see it, is going to be pretty much run by the women. I see a lot of women. I see a lot of female power out there, and they're going to prove they're a powerhouse. And when it comes down to it, we're the ones that got to live with it. And you're going to live with it one way or the other. It may be January 6th before we have an answer as to who's going to win, and so be it. It's not like we haven't been there before. But all I'm saying is just go vote. How about that, Dale? Do I agree with you enough on that?
No. But hey, it's at the end of the day, I guess the old phrase, we have to agree to disagree. And that's the whole point of this show. You feel a different way and you're leaning towards one personal candidate. I'm leaning towards another candidate. And, it is what it is. The people that walk in and they push the button, or, depending on whether they're playing on a computer or crossing the boxes, they make the decision. It don't have anything to do with what the heck we think. Now, my hope is, because of course I don't agree with you, and I probably, we agree on little things here and there, but I probably will never agree with you.
I don't expect you to.
That's why we have this show.
I don't expect you to.
We have those opposite personalities, and that's why we have the show.
Yep.
But when anybody else that may listen to this show, it's not about what I think. It's not about what Pat thinks. It's about, at the end of the day, what you take away from what we've been saying for months and what you've been taking away from other things you've been listening to or whatever, you have to make a choice to cast a vote, and you cast a vote one way or another. Little Miss Susie Sue. I don't know who you voted for, but you know what? You could come on the show tomorrow, and I'll probably be able to figure it out. But it don't matter. It don't matter because you don't already voted. So do your thing, vote your conscience, and I pray that we have given you some different avenues to look at so that hopefully it will help you to make a conscious choice on what you're going to do tomorrow.
Right.
You know, I mean, that's what this whole thing, I want to say it's what this whole thing is all about, but it's not. It's just about him and I fighting. It just so happened that we had the presidential election coming up, and well, it makes it a real easy thing to fight about. So we continue that thing. But, unfortunately, next week, or excuse me, 2 weeks from now, we're going to have to talk about how the election went down. But after that, we ain't going to have nothing to argue about. We're going to have to make up shit.
Oh, we'll find plenty to argue about.
I mean, it is what it is. Vote your conscience.
I've really come to take a lot of this the stuff that's been on this show and Radioactive have been pretty much current events, and there's always two sides of that stuff. That's why we use it. This election's come in pretty handy because of that. But I'm at the point with myself that I know there's an old saying in the broadcast industry: you may run a political show, but you're going to lose half your audience. And I hope that doesn't happen here. It's not meant to be that way, but I needed a place to vent, and this is it. So with that, you about ready to wrap it up, sir?
Hey, it's on you.
I will.
I gave you a card today.
I will go ahead, and I hope you don't feel too covered in mud, but I threw as much at you as I could.
I know. Yeah, I'm pretty clean.
All right. We will see you here from this show in 2 weeks. Next up on the Crooked River Network is Saturday morning at 11 a.m. We're going to talk sports with Four Guys on Sports. I think I gotta cancel a test, but I'm gonna decide on that probably tomorrow. And we will probably be running that show. Then Sunday night we have Radioactive with the cast and crew from that, and then next Monday I don't know what Eric's got planned, but we'll be running his show again with the Nanosecond podcast.
You might be moving that on to the other show.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, yeah. Never mind. You just like.
All right, we're out of here. We'll see you.
Yeah. Thank you for stopping me. Thank you.
Yeah,
I was about to be a bad person.
I figured I'd better.
Yeah, good call. Good call.
Have a good week. Get some rest. And
vote tomorrow.
And get out and vote. See ya.
Damn it. Vote.